I'm so excited to take you in and show you my bathroom remodel. It's one of my favorite makeovers ever. It turned out so good. All right, here we go. Right now, I am sitting on the throne, oh yes, the throne of Boringville. And we are gonna be doing a transformation on this tiny bathroom. It's gonna be very dramatic and we're gonna be doing it on a budget, so let's get started. It's demo time. So let's start with the toilet. This is by far the most glamorous thing I've done on this channel yet. Pink gloves will make it better, right? Lefty loosey, righty tighty. What I didn't realize as an adult, how many times I would say lefty loosey or righty tighty. We're ready to remove this toilet, and honestly, I'm scared. I don't want to see what's underneath this toilet, but we gotta do what we gotta do for a beautiful bathroom. Rock it back and forth is what I've been told, and then lift it off. All right, it's not as bad as I thought. I'm trying to unhook the hoses, and it's a very tight fit. Good thing I have small hands. A little bit of water, but nothing crazy. Okay, how do I unhook the drain? Lefty loosey, righty tighty. I hope I know what I'm doing. I'm not a plumber, I just play one on TV. It's coming out now. I'm gonna have some mopping up to do. This toilet paper holder was way too far away from the toilet, especially if you have kids. We made something to replace it in my bathroom IKEA hacks episode, but first we need to get rid of this behemoth of a toilet paper holder. Honestly, I was completely expecting this. I figured there was gonna be some massive damage, so I am prepared. We're gonna take this piece of scrap wood, stick it in this hole, and then kind of hold it into place while we drill in some screws. Okay, so that is nice and solid and it's gonna give us a good foundation. My fellow YouTuber and real life bestie Lisa is doing a kitchen remodel right now, and she happened to have a square of drywall that was exactly the right size. Like, what are the odds of that? So we're gonna just place this in here like it was meant to be, seriously. And we are just gonna screw this into place. All right, so now we have like a somewhat flat surface that we can apply this to. This is just a patch that we are gonna place over the top. And then we will fill this in with some joint compound and let it dry. Once it's dry, we sand it to smooth, and then if you have textured walls like I do, you can just get a can of orange peel texture and just spray it on and let that dry. And I've got one more nasty little job that I am not looking forward to, but it must be done. So now it's time for that nasty little job that I've been trying to avoid. So we have 3 cracked tiles and they're right in the middle, and I would love nothing more than to just throw a rug over them and forget about it, but I'd always know that I renovated my bathroom and didn't take care of this problem. So we're going to be using this. It's an oscillating tool. I have put on a diamond blade that's specially designed for getting rid of grout. I won't need to cut any tile. I just need to pop these ones out and put new ones in. So this is a really dusty job. So I'm going to try to film a little bit of it in the beginning to kind of show you what we're going to be doing. And then I'm going to probably shut this door and contain the mess to this room. Safety glasses, face masks are a must. Okay, so we've got the grout pretty much out. We're gonna start by trying to pop out this tile right here, and we're gonna put something over the top of it, and then I'm just gonna take a sledgehammer to it and maybe try to break it up a little bit more, and we'll see what happens. All right, I want to get this job over with, so I'm pulling out the big ends, but it's too small of a space to record this, so bye. So upon removing the tile, I discovered what I believe was the cause of the crack. There was a gap where two sections from our foundation meet up, and so I just take some of our mastic that we're going to be using for our tile, and I fill in that crack and allow that to dry. And then I back butter 3 tiles that we are going to be placing into the space with my trowel and place them where I want them. And then I kind of tape it off with some blue painter's tape to make sure they stay in place while it dries, and also to act as a reminder not to step on it until it's ready. We've let our tile sit for almost 24 hours. It's almost ready to grout, but I'm gonna let it sit up a little bit longer while we paint the walls. So we're gonna paint 3 of the walls, but this one wall behind where the toilet and the sink will go, I've got something fun planned for there. Now I'm gonna be painting my walls in a Revere pewter, which is a grayish color that's in the rest of my house. I already had it on hand, so it didn't cost me any additional money, and I think it will act like a neutral backdrop for all of the other fun stuff that I've got planned for this bathroom. I don't use painter's tape. I find that it takes a lot longer, and I just don't like using it. So we are getting to the good stuff now. You can see that I've turned off the lights in here, and that's because we are about to remove the old light fixture, and that's because we are going to be installing a faux brick wall, and we're going to do kind of a light German schmear on it. I'm not going to give you a tutorial on how to install a light fixture just because I'm not a licensed electrician. I feel comfortable doing my own electrical work, but we're going to remove the light fixture, and then we're going to make it safe for us to work. We don't want any live wires. We'll just probably leave the power off on that for a second. I'm so excited. I got my brick paneling at the Home Depot because I feel like their wall panel looks a little bit more realistic. I got 2 sheets, and then I went ahead and had Home Depot make one of my long cuts for me. I kind of sketched out my wall and have my dimensions and where I need to make additional cuts. Where the light fixture was, I found a bowl that was about the same dimensions, and I used that to trace around where we need to cut. Then I made all of my cuts. Now it's time to install my brick paneling on my wall. It's tight fit back here, but I'm gonna try to show you what I'm doing. We're just gonna be very generous with this liquid nails. I'm hoping this will help support it. The first piece was kind of big and kind of awkward to hold up and screw in at the same time. You can't see it in this frame, but my husband was actually holding up the panel from the bottom while I screwed it in on the top. When you're installing the paneling, you're going to want to try to hit as many studs as you possibly can to hold it into place. After this, I needed a quick break. So I decided to go ahead and grout my tile. And I just decided to kind of re-grout the whole entire room with fresh grout. The next day I came back and finished the bottom portion of my brick paneling. I just used the leftover of my second panel piece to fill in the area, since most of it was going to be covered up by the toilet and vanity, and it worked out great. I'm pretty excited about our brick wall here, our faux brick wall. And the only way I would do faux brick paneling is if we did a German schmear. And the reason for that is because it's really hard to hide some of these screws, but it's not if you're doing a German schmear, because you're gonna go over the entire thing with kind of like a whitewash, and then it's gonna make it look a little bit more realistic. But already it has just made this boring bathroom so much cooler. We're gonna just use this fast dry premium spackling with a big putty knife, and we're just gonna wipe it on really easy. I've never done this before, but I've heard that you can't mess it up, so I'm hoping that's the case. Let's give it a try, we'll see. I'm liking this. Cool, this looks so cool. It really was as easy as everyone says. You just kind of wipe it on and make sure the joint compound gets into all of the crevices and covers up all of your screws. And for the most part, I just wiped this on in a 45-degree angle, kind of doing a crisscrossing motion. Just wipe off as much as you want or leave on as much as you want. Bonus, it's a really good arm workout. After I let it fully dry, I came back in with polyurethane in a matte finish and do a coat over it, since this is for a bathroom and I want to be able to wipe it down if needs be. After all, I am a boy mom. You feel me? And then we just let that fully dry. While that's drying, we're gonna take this time to do a few more DIYs for the bathroom decor. Did you know that Cricut can cut wood? Yes, they can. It's thin wood, but it's still really fun, and we are gonna make a really fun sign I am so excited about. So I will leave the link for the image that I designed and used for this sign that you can download. I've also created a very thorough tutorial on how to use Design Space, really everything you need to know, and I will provide that link in the description box below as well. You will need to use the Cricut Maker for this particular project. I would recommend using Cricut's wood. It takes about 10 to 12 passes for it to cut all the way through, and as you can see here, the word says fresh and clean, my hopeful wish for the bathroom. We did need to slice the word clean into 4 sections for it to be able to cut out on my basswood. So we are going to just flip it over and connect it now. I am just using some cut off pieces from the excess of our cut job, and I'm going to hot glue those into place to hold it together. Then I'm going to flip it back over and fill in the gaps with just a little bit of wood filler and wait for it to dry, and then we'll just gently sand it down. Now this is not very thick wood, so if you want it to be a little bit more sturdy, you could cut out 2 or 3 of these and just kind of stack them up and attach them with a little wood glue. Now I wanted my words to be 3-dimensional and kind of sit off the wall a little bit, but I also needed them to be consistent. So my solution for this was to hot glue push pins to the backs of the letter, and this is how we will also attach it to the wall. Then we can just take it outside and spray paint the underside first in a matte black spray paint. And once that's dried, then we're gonna flip it back over and do a couple of coats of that same matte black. And let me tell you, this sign turned out so cool. And I need you to hang on with me for the bathroom bill to see the finished version, but I promise you are going to love it. Our next DIY, we are going to be making a wash your hands sign. We are going to just be using a Dollar Tree blackboard. It's ready to go. It's already the black color that I want it to be. It's a good size. And we are just going to cut a stencil out that says wash your hands, and I'll link this image that I created in the description box. You can just upload it into Cricut Design Studio and make a stencil. And we are going to put that stencil on our Dollar Tree chalkboard. We're going to take some black chalkboard paint that I also picked up at the Dollar Tree, go around the edges to help prevent bleeding, let that dry. Then we're going to do 2 to 3 coats of white chalk paint and let that dry. And then we're going to peel back the stencil. And now we need a frame, and I just took some square wood dowels and I cut them on a 45-degree angle to make a miter frame. Miter frames are not that hard. You just want to make sure the sides are the same length and the top and the bottom are the same length, and they will all match up. And then I just take some antiquing glaze to stain the frame. Hey, Annie. Isn't he cute? He's all mine. And I glaze the frame. Now I can't think. He made my heart go pitter patter, and now I can't speak. That's good after all these years of marriage. All right, so once we've got that frame stained, then we are going to glue the corners together and just create that frame. And that's just kind of to tack it into place just for a second. And then we're gonna flip it over, put our finished chalkboard on it, and I just staple that into place and it's good to go. And so for like $2, we have a really cute piece of art that is gonna be going into our bathroom. So stay tuned for that. You'll get to see all the finished looks in just a second. So for my next DIY, I'm gonna actually be remaking an old DIY that I did. I turned this Himalayan sea salt container into like kind of a faux sea glass container, and I'm not really using it anymore, so I decided to just change the look of it a little bit. We're gonna spray it out in a matte black, and we're gonna put some greenery in it. It's gonna look really good. So while I'm spray painting a whole bunch of stuff, I'm just gonna also repaint this into a matte black finish, and it looks so good, and it's such an easy thing. So you can just look around your home for really interesting bottles, or thrift stores for interesting bottles that are really inexpensive, spray them out in a matte black finish, and it looks really cool. I picked up this kind of like light cage thing at Family Dollar. I think it was for $12, which is kind of a lot for Family Dollar, but it was really cool. I liked the light bulb idea of it, and I thought it would look really cute. Now, we're kind of going with blacks and golds in my bathroom, so this color combination didn't really work. And I kind of toyed around with a couple of different ideas of painting the cage part black and then leaving the base a natural wood, which would have looked really cool. So I decided to go ahead and paint out the base black, and then I took it out and kind of sprayed it in a like gold color, and I'm really happy with how this turned out as well. And our last DIY before we get back to the bathroom renovation is a quick bathroom sign, and I picked this one up at Dollar General. It was $3, and we're gonna just make the center white. Now I start out by painting this white in a white chalk paint. And then I decided after painting it, I didn't really like it. You could kind of see the texture coming through. It just wasn't working out. So what I ended up doing is eventually covering this in a white vinyl, which is what I probably should have done to begin with. And then I just cut this boy and girl bathroom sign. I found it on Cricut Design Studio, like in their pre-loaded images, and made it fit and applied that over the top of our white vinyl. And I am really happy with this cute little sign, and we're gonna stick it on the front of our bathroom door just using some command strips, and I'm really excited for you to see the finished version of this. So we've got the light installed, and how about those light bulbs? Are they not the coolest? They actually look like kind of an extension of the light fixture. The light fixture was super inexpensive. I'm gonna link that for you. I got it off of Amazon, and also off of Amazon I got this really cool faucet that we're gonna install right now so that we can hook up our brand new vanity, which I got at Lowe's, and I will have links for everything. So I'm super excited about how this is looking so far. I pulled out my vanity from the wall and installed the faucet prior to installing the rest of it, which definitely made things easier. As I said before, I did all of the plumbing myself, and I'm definitely not going to give a tutorial on how to do that. But several days later now, everything is still holding up really well, and there are absolutely no leaks. So I'm very happy with the end result. And once we got all the plumbing situated, I screwed the cabinet into the wall. All right, we have worked really hard on this bathroom. So I decided to switch out the toilet because the original one was kind of like this ivory color and it was just really not working. I think it would have really bugged me for a long time. So I did buy a new white toilet. I assembled and installed it myself. I didn't get that on camera. I'd never done it before, but it worked out. Now we get to do all of the fun stuff. I cannot wait to show you the final reveal. So let's get doing all those final details. This mirror is from Home Goods, but I'll try to link something similar to it in the description box. These shelf brackets I am using, I got off of Amazon, and I'm just using some scrap wood from my pile as the shelves, and I antiqued them using the same antiquing wax that I used on my wash your hands sign and my cell phone toilet paper holder. So it's all gonna coordinate. You just wanna make sure that everything is level and lined up. Then we so easily hang our fresh and clean typography sign. Then it's time for some of those finishing touches, including our DIYs that we made in this episode and a previous one. Thank you for your patience. Now it's time to show you the bathroom. I am so thrilled with how this bathroom turned out. We did it on a relatively small budget, especially since we replaced pretty much everything in here. It's amazing. I kind of want to hang out here now. From being the most boring room in the house to now probably one of the most interesting. It's been quite a transformation. My original budget was $750. I did end up going a little bit over when I bought a new toilet, but I'm so glad I did. I love all of the elements that we made with our Cricut machine. I really think it is the cherry on top, from the fresh and clean sign to wash your hands. It's just those little finishing details that take a well-designed room to a showstopper. And how about this amazing faucet? Isn't that just the coolest? I never used this bathroom before. I was actually kind of embarrassed by it, but now it's almost too pretty to use. So now this bathroom is just to look at and not to actually use. Now I just need to convince my boys to keep it fresh and clean. Subliminal messaging right there. And to wash their hands. I'm just thrilled. If you enjoyed this episode, here's another one that I think you'll like as well. If you haven't already done so, consider hitting that subscribe button right there. It's super easy, and become a part of the DIY Niner family. And to all of my DIY Niners, I just want to remind you that you are more powerful than you know. We'll see you next time. Bye.